Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Science Codex. This is the table of contents. We've got lots of different topics here. So I really enjoy just kind of researching a whole bunch of different random topics. And these are just a lot of different notes. As you can see, we have equations, a lot of images. Here we got some calculus 3, some like integrals and polar coordinates and cylindrical and spherical. Here we got some fields. This is gradient field. As we go through this, this is some chemistry right here. You can see we got orbits and some bonds. This is pretty sweet stuff. This is some complex analysis over here, right? And then we've got differential equations. This is like coupled oscillators right here. Pretty cool stuff, the gamma function there. Some techniques like reduction of order. I didn't want to spoil all of it, so I'm just going to flip through it. It is going to be electric potential, capacitors, and basic mechanics. Got some modern physics right here. A couple of different, this is the forces, the fundamental forces. And towards the back of the book, I got some interesting topology. You got like sets and how the neighborhoods and the union works between all these sets and stuff. And we have to open cover and make sure that, as you can see, like there's all these different ways to connect things together, but you have to make sure that there's a full cover of that space. Interesting theories down here, some different topology methods. So there's a lot of cool equations and concepts in this book. This is the laboratory archives. So if you're doing lab experiments, you know, this is a great notebook to have handy. It's really small, as you can see. I think this is going to be really helpful for anyone who's doing experiments in lab or just kind of doing homework and notes or anything like that. And you just want to have the reference to be able to sort of check the equations, make sure you're doing everything right. There we go. This is the Science Codex. So here's the idea. You might be in college right now. You might be doing some research or going for a PhD or maybe even in a job or something. The idea is you want to organize your thoughts. You want to organize all the materials, all the topics, and all your notes, right? And the question is, can you even remember all the equations? All the stuff you got to do? For me, it's really, really hard. All right. And that's why, you know, sometimes if you look through the textbooks, it's okay, but the problem is the textbooks are really, really long, right? And the videos that you watch, they're like 20, 30 minutes, right? Sometimes hours. The lectures you got to go to, they're a whole hour, you know, sometimes two. So it's like you spend a lot of time just trying to like figure things out, right? And so that's why I came up with a new way. And in fact, this is somewhat the only way that I've found to be really quick and condensed in a way that you can sort of absorb things instantly and then essentially be able to, well, get a lot of stuff into a very short period of time and a short space. All right. And so I have some goals here. So one of the goals I have is to make my studying really, really short. The reason why I want to have a short study session is because, well, it's going to be more fun that way. If you spend too much time, then it's kind of lame, right? You want to instantly understand stuff so you could feel smart, right? It's kind of sucks when you don't feel very smart. If you kind of feel stupid if you don't understand what the heck is happening, right? That's really the organizational fault of the instructional material rather than your fault. Because, well, you can throw 1,000 marbles or thousands of marbles onto the ground and ask you to count them. They're all different colors and stuff. The problem is really, really hard to do that. It's almost impossible, right? But if I stacked them on the table and color-coded them, you'd immediately know exactly how many marbles there were. So that's the difference between sort of being able to instantly understand something because it's good organization versus impossible because it's so chaotic. And we got high scores, right? You want to build some confidence and keep your hopes up. So how are we going to do this? Well, I had a little epiphany. Essentially, I was thinking to myself, okay, so how can I take a whole book, an entire textbook, and condense it into one single page? All right, that was my challenge. And that's what I did. I essentially did that for a couple of math textbooks, a couple of chemistry textbooks, a couple of, well, I didn't really go through engineering textbooks, but I did research a whole bunch of engineering topics. And then I did this for a couple of different physics textbooks, namely the OpenStax ones and stuff like that. But essentially, here's the plan. All right, so the idea is there's three sort of main pieces of learning process. Number one is getting the concept down. It's just like the vocab words, like what the heck is the meaning, the definition, etc., etc. Then you want a picture. You want a diagram so you can see exactly what you're looking at. Or if you just say stuff without a picture, it makes no sense to me, right? And the equation, it will make no sense if you don't have the picture. And then, of course, we need the equation. So you have all three of these components together so you can just quickly understand what the heck is going on. It's like pretty simple. Now, you want to see connections between all the different topics, right? You want to see the connection between the concept, the diagram, the equation, and all the other topics that are so around it, maybe even on other pages too, right? With relevant similar equations. So essentially the idea to put everything on a single page is to be able to see the connections between all the things. If everything's just like, a very small, like zoomed in section to one very specific topic, you're going to essentially forget all the other topics that even exist. And so, it's so much harder to do things that way. So you focus on all the topics sort of condensed onto one page and see the links and the map that you can see between them. Now, if you have some doubts about this, it totally makes sense, right? So maybe you're too far along by now in the process. You're too far advanced. You're too far ahead. So you think maybe you don't have any use for this, But, well, I have a lot of extremely advanced, specialized topics that are sort of put in between the pages here and there. And it's also a multidisciplinary book. So, like I said, math, chemistry, engineering, physics, and there's even a little bit of biology in there. I'll have to add some of that eventually. If you think there's too many topics in this book, well, I'm trying to organize the topics and make them really, really, organized. So getting a lot of information on one page is hard, but if it's clean and it's neat, there's a good layout, and it's organized well, this is what makes it portable. Like, if you think the text is too small, this is the only way that you can put it all on one page to make it portable like that. All right, and if you think maybe it's too advanced, because there are a lot of really high-level topics in here, and really we're trying to bridge the gap, okay? Because we got some really, really very easy topics in there, just basic stuff, and then we're trying to go really, really complex, like as fast as we can. We want to sort of bridge the gap to be able to go from the first level to the very last level quickly. And if you think this isn't a legit source, well, who am I, right? Well, I have really good references. I've studied the OpenStax books, which are legitimate. I went to two different schools so far for a physics degree, and I've made a lot of revisions over the years through these notes. Worked with many students, different people, and I've handed them out to them, have them use it, and we've discussed things. We've found errors on the sheets, and yes, there might be errors here and there throughout the book, of course, but every book is going to have some errors, right? And the idea is, like, you can always add your own little revisions if you find an error, okay? And also, this has been tested throughout my courses. I've used them for my tests and exams, these notes, and homework assignments, and I've gotten the right answers using these notes, and so they should be pretty accurate, okay? So yeah, so these are some of the doubts that you might have. I totally understand that. But let's take a look at what you're going to achieve if you buy this book. Essentially, you're going to have a STEM subject guide, which is really nice. And you're going to be able to get ready for lab, work, or research that is involved in these types of topics. And you'll definitely have a competitive edge against someone who doesn't have this book, right? They're just kind of using the regular old system with textbooks. I think that my notes are pretty well organized. And the internal transformation that's going to happen, well, the moment that you start reading one of these pages and you lay eyes on this text, you're going to get smarter by the second, okay? There's so many equations coming at you at once with concepts and visual diagrams that you're going to immediately pick up on so many different things. And every page, well, there's only 30 pages in the book. You're going to flip through it in 5 or 10 minutes and see everything immediately. It's going to be just so, just going to just download so much information in your brain so quickly. It's going to be crazy. You're also going to get some inspiration and curiosity from seeing all this content, all this stuff just so easily digestible. It's going to really inspire you to take some steps forward. And you'll find some purpose, and you'll be able to figure out what's next, because you'll see what's known, and you'll be thinking to yourself, you'll be coming up with questions like, oh wait, I could see there's a little hole here. What information should be put into this section here? And so you can start to think about what research you might want to start doing, and this is very inspirational stuff. So I think that getting this book is going to be really helpful for you.